Oh yeah, this game is from a matchup that is a long time coming. When Serral was the indisputably dominant figure on the professional Starcraft scene. The one asterisk was that he hadn't had a major tournament series against Maru. And then when Maru became the preeminent player on the Starcraft scene, the footnote, of course, was always, when is he going to play Serral? And now neither player is unquestionably at the top of the podium. They have to share it with Raynor, Rogue, and Dark. And even guys like Trap might be in the conversation. Which only makes it even better. Because now they're going to have that series. Serral versus Maru. I got my hands on one replay, so you know I'm going to cast it. And it's going to be on the map Jagannatha. It's a 2-player map with 4 acceleration zones. Please welcome the youngest GSL player of all time. The Maori war god from South Korea. He is Maru!
Bring it! Current world rank 3.
It's a hatch first for our Finnish Zerg player. He is the only current player with 2 triple crowns. He is the Baba Yaga. He is the Night King. He is Serral!
Current world rank 1.
Number 1, eh? I guess that's alright. We're gonna have a Reaper expand out of Maru, so everyone's gonna be playing standard to kick this game off. There's our orbital so ET can phone home, and there's the command center at Terran's Natural. I just want to pause for that moment of satellite dish envy. But of course the real story is that Serral's hatch and pool are about to complete, and once they do we'll get a glimpse as to whether he has anything unusual planned for us. We summon forth the geyser of eggplant. The creep splashes forth, and with blinding speed it's 2 queens and 4 lings. This is Serral's most common opening. Maru's gonna sneak out that extra marine before he starts that reactor on his barracks. His factory for that 1-1-1 build is already on the way. The acceleration zones will get that Reaper to Serral's base in record time. Oh, a second marine for Maru. Nope, he cancels that, it's a reactor. Serral's 4 lings have to buy time for that queen to get out. Maru is godly with his Reaper control. Serral has to match that with his ling rotation. He tries to cut the Reaper off with 1 ling and it costs him. Maru grabs the first blood. The queen is out though, and Serral has seized the moment to put down his 3rd. Maru's gonna get confirmation on that. His factory's almost done. Will we see the reactor switch? Maru does have a high ground command center in the making. He's awaiting the minerals for the starport. There's the switch, and there's the starport. That is as fluid as this build can get. The 2nd orbital is underway at the Natural. Both players have to be content with their openings so far. Serral's adding that additional queen, and he's started up ling speed. He hasn't been forced to make any lings beyond his original 4. That's let him slide up to 28 drones comfortably. It's a parting grenade from Maru's Reaper as he sends it home. That means it's going to be available to him to link up with his Hellions, which are coming online right about now. I get how a Hellion fits down that ramp, but how does a tank? Oh well, not everything can be precisely to scale in StarCraft. Oh, the starport's going to pick up the barracks' tech lab. That's probably not just for funsies. Yep, Maru's going to produce a Banshee. It looks like he's going to be lining up for layers of harass. Serral needs to know about this, which is why he's looking to sack an Overlord. There is a border guard looking to shut it down. Will he get notice of the Banshee, and if he does, will he believe it? 130 hit points and falling. He sees the Banshee and he sees the cloak. Is that real or was that added for Serral's benefit? 2nd Marine pops out of the racks and finishes off the Overlord. Serral's intel has left him comfortable to continue teching to Hive. No spores though. No Roach Warren and no Baneling Nest either. It's going to be aggressive tech for Serral. The Hellions are going to pop over though. Let's see if they have anything to say about this. The cloak has not been cancelled. It's sort of a double bluff. Maru's actually making a 2nd Banshee. Serral is going to opt for the safety of a Baneling Nest. Oh, and he is going to go ahead and add those spores. Oh wow. The Hellions touched the creep for like a nanosecond and somehow Serral saw it and dispatched his queens. Maru deftly pulls back and swings east. Serral is going to go ahead and add that Baneling Nest. I shouldn't be surprised. Banelings are such a big part of what it is that he does. Maru's Hellions are going to snipe a creep tumor. It looks like they're going to dance and play on the fringes of the creep, just to let Zerg know that they can never stop paying attention for even 1 second. The hive finishes up and Serral starts up a spire. Stim for Maru. Cloak is going to finish up. You know, it actually takes longer to research Stim Pack than it does to build an entire spire. Double Banshee headed out on the map. They're going to want to try to put that braking clamp on Serral's drone production. He's all the way up to 57 now. He's got 6 queens and 2 spores to help guard them, though. That's a tough nut to crack. The Terran third is in place, and Maru hits the mule hammer. The Banshee's cloaked. They're going to hit the west side at the main. There's no detection until they hit the range of that spore. Only 1 queen available right now. 2 Banshees can one-shot a drone. 3 kills to open up. Maru does have to tank a couple spore hits to do it, though. Kills up to 5. He's starting to show signs of getting value on his investment. He's going after a queen. Serral with the save. Maru with the save on that Banshee. He's in the deep red. He rotates his Banshee so the spore hits the wrong one. 9 kills and the escape. No! The Queen Cavalry arrives and tags one in the getaway. Still, 9 drones for 1 Banshee. I think you take that. But there's also the heavy cost of that cloak investment and the fact that Serral is still ahead on workers. Muta's in production. Marines heading out just as Stim is finishing up. Double Evo chambers for Serral. Baneling speed is done. Oh, are the Marines having second thoughts or are they just linking up with that Banshee? Neither. Maru's spotted that Serral's taking a 4th in the bottom right. Maru's redirecting to that target. Serral knows he's been scanned. He's hustling over to cover. All 4 of Serral's expansions have been as far away from the Terran as possible. Maru, on the other hand, is expanding towards the Zerg. Maru stims half his forces and starts going after the creep. There's Queenling Bane to greet them, not the Mutas. Serral has forced the engagement away from his hatch. He's looking for Baneling connections. Maru with the split, but his forces get trapped in a culvert. The medevac pickup is a second too late, and Serral gets the kills. There's no Marine escort to protect those medevacs now. Serral's gonna get them. The Mutas may have been late, but they were still on time. A big-time defense for Serral. The one consolation for Terran is behind this, he's actually managed to get the worker lead. That's not something a Zerg player ever wants to see, which is perhaps why Serral's making a huge round of drones, 11 at a time. And bam, he takes the worker lead back and he goes to work on Maru's. 2 SCV kills, but Maru did get that turret up. Serral's Mutas are going to have that Overseer tag-along. He knows Maru's investing in Widow Mines, and that's one way you can lose your Mutaflock real quick. Triple upgrades for Serral. He's including the flyer attack. Maru's picking up drilling claws. He's also adding a Thor. He is absolutely adapting to the Mutalisk threat. Maru's Marines are using the acceleration zones to their advantage. They just shoot after those Mutas so fast. And if the Mutas won't face him, he'll just kill his creep tubers. This time Maru has the hot pickup, and he boosts back home to safety. So the early returns show us that Maru has a very disciplined defense. But he wasn't able to stop the Zerg from getting up to that comfort level where the Zerg gets 80 drones. Serral is outmining his opponent. Oh, and he gets a snipe on that Widow Mine. That Overseer has paid off. Maru will be briefly supply blocked. Brief as in no longer. He's so good. I think what Maru has to be afraid of, though, is with Serral's economy so hot, at some point Zerg is going to be free to start trading inefficiently. Oh, and he picks off that second Banshee. So yeah, the end result is that Maru doesn't get value out of his cloak. But since we're at the 9-minute mark of the game, he probably doesn't care quite so much. Serral starts his 5th base. Maru's gonna land his 4th. He's got the Thor in place to deny the Mutas. Serral's gonna try to swing to the east then. He wants to hit where the Thors are not. And the schematic green overlay becomes a reality. Terran may be down on economy, but it's not like his economy sucks. Serral, though, is just about maxed. And there's another negative stat for Maru. Terran has lost more resources total than the Zerg. Ideally, you never want to see that, pretty much at any phase of the game. 88 workers for Serral. I feel like there's been inflation on that. I remember when hitting 80 was considered insane. Now it's almost like a minimum target. Serra's mutas glided and find the base empty. He thought about continuing on to the main, but he pulls back. He knows he's been spotted and he elects to save his flock. Did you know that mutas fly south for the winter? Well, they're supposed to, but the Overmind doesn't let them. I saw a documentary on it once. It was really sad. Anywho, Serral is maxed, and he is going to try that strafing run on the main. Maru's going to drop in his own main to add some defense. He does have a pair of turrets. Oh, a Widowmine spray paints the entire flock yellow. Serral does snipe a reactor, but once he sees that Thor getting airlifted in, he has to get out of there. Oh, it looks like Maru's going to try to generate some offense. He can't just sit there taking punches. He's near maxed himself. Serral's mutas are about to get +2 flyer attack. That's actually going to be the lead upgrade in this game. But it's not like Maru's +2/+2 is going to be all that far behind. He's also upgrading at that armory. Oh, neat. Serral sends a single Ling in to try to bait out the Widow Mines. Maru tries to snipe the Ling to prevent his mines from shooting off prematurely. He knows he has to get value before he's forced into cooldown. This time Serral uses his mutas to clear the mines, which means the Banelings are going to see a way in. No, too much firepower at the ramp. Serral's going to pull back. It's a bit of a stalemate for now, but Zerg has to be happy that Terran's pinned into his base. But Maru's maxed as well now, and he's got 80 workers of his own. Serral is mining more efficiently though. Even though the Terran has mules, Zerg is pulling in a lot more minerals right now. In fact, Serral's building a bank at this point. He's also starting up an Ultralisk cabin. He's gonna fill out that late game tech tree. Oh, this time the Banes are gonna go! Maru puts his Marauders in front to tank, but Serral doesn't care. He's got money burning a hole in his pocket. He wants to kill something. Maru's forced to pull back and the mineral line is exposed. Oh, he's gonna bomb that fortress. He gets it. That's gonna make it 6 bases to 3. Look how fast Maru recovers. His backup CC is right there. And he's gonna try to pick up that easternmost base. The Ultralisk cavern is done. Serral's gonna start that chitinous plating. That's another long upgrade. It's something like 79 seconds. Serral doesn't actually have the supply to build Ultras right now. That's just gonna encourage him to go for more trades, which is not good news for Maru. Though in truth, both players remaxed very quickly. That was not a knockout punch by any means. But if Serral can rinse and repeat, I'm not so sure Maru can sustain that indefinitely. The other thing that's happening is with all the Banelings out there, Maru has to keep making fortresses. And that's cutting into the mule energy that he has available. Maru's finished his Ghost Academy. He's making a huge round of ghosts now. Oh, is Serral gonna get the west base again? The SCVs evacuate, but the fortress falls. Serral even has Banelings left over, but the Thors have something to say about that. He pulls them back, content with 8 worker kills. And the mutas claim the fortress to the east. The Thors just cannot be in both places at the same time. Maru is getting picked apart. He's gonna have to hope his Ghost Micro can get him back into this. Maru may have built his Ghost to prepare for the Ultras, but I could really see him using them on the mutas. And speaking of Ultras, Ultra Speed is being researched, though still no actual Ultras. And pathogen glands for the non-existent infestors. That goes to show what good shape Serral's in. Somehow he's managing to trade almost evenly with the Terran. Maru knows he can't stand pat anymore. He's gonna try to push out. But with so many Banelings on the map, it's just dangerous to be on the creep right now. It's a rock and a hard place for our Terran player. He is researching personal cloak for his ghosts. But frankly, most of his money's being spent building command centers 3 at a time to replace them. Serral's taken every base on his side of the map, and he's now starting to take Maru's. Maru's just about to finish up his 3-3 for his bio. I think that's going to be his go, go, go signal. With his creep spread, Serral has vision of just about the entire map. Here comes another push in. The Banelings are in front, but they blow themselves out on the depot wall. That will supply cap Maru, and it frees up the supply for Serral to start building the Ultras. Maru's ghosts are ready. If he can make Serral pay for that tech switch, maybe he can get back in this. Serral's got adrenal glands on the way. Why should Terran Marines get to be the only ones on drugs? Maru snipes his first base. He cannot allow Serral to mine that patch. The Emerald schematic tells us that Maru wants to retake the east side, but Serral controls that territory. Oh, the Ultralisk announces his presence on the Thor. Maru is being overrun. Is this the end? As Serral's supply drops, he refills it with 50 cracklings and 3 more Ultras. Maru's gonna need King Leonidas to hold off this horde. And somehow, for the moment, he has. Serral has remaxed, though. And he's still got a bank. You've got to admire Maru's tenacity. He's not packing it in. He's gonna fight. Maru's waited so long for this matchup. He's not gonna tap out of the submission hold until his head hits the canvas. Oh boy, the aforementioned 50 Zerglings are gonna change into Banelings. That Crimson Zone 500 goal seems kind of inevitable at this point. Serral's mutas snipe a Widow Mine. Maru really needs those to deter the Banelings. You know, I really miss the sensor tower circles on the minimap. Gotta figure out if there's a way to get those back. Maru's trying to mine from the east side yet again. But the horde has found him and he's lifting off. Terran retreats to the high ground. Serral's Lings are gonna prevent that CC from landing again. Zerg is maxed once again and his bank has climbed to almost 5,000. Maru has the bigger army. He's down to 66 workers, which actually makes a lot of sense for him right now. He doesn't have a lot of mineral patches. Maru's ghost count is up to 10. He can do an insane amount of snipe damage. Oh, big clash. The Ultras get blown to bits, but the Banelings are in. They are hunting for the ghosts. Maru can't lose those ghosts. That would be game. Those are the kings on his chessboard right now. Oh, he's lost a bunch. He's lost more. Oh! Maru loses 7 ghosts and 11 marauders. His army's in tatters, but he did keep the command center alive. Serral is remaxing yet again, but interestingly, this time he's adding in corruptors. There's no sign of a greater spire, so I don't think this is the herald to a tech switch to broodlords. Maybe he just wants to make the world really unsafe for medevacs. Because it's not like Maru has much of an air force that he needs to counter. But Maru does have a dozen medevacs. And that's really letting him stim that bio over and over and over. Serral might have assessed that's what's keeping Maru in this game. We're at the 17-minute mark now, and we're starting to show signs of the map mining out. Serral's mining a lot less now, and it's not because his drone count is falling. Maybe that's Maru's plan here. If he can hold out till the map goes bone dry, Serral won't be able to Baneling his way to victory. And Jagannatha does not have as many patches as other locations. But I don't know, it really does seem like Maru will be the first one to mine out. He has been muling for a while. Oh, there's the remax for Serral, 28 more Zerglings. Maru reestablishes his base at the top left. Serral just about to finish his +3 flyer attack. Maru has replenished his ghost count. He too is maxed. And that's going to give him the courage to hunt down Serral's top left hatchery. Serral does get the cancel. Zerg has to respect the Terran army. It is much bigger. Serral does try to rebuild that hatch, but Maru is waiting for him. No cancel this time, just the kill. The enraged Ultralists will try to drive him back. There are Baneling fireworks everywhere. It's pure madness, supplies dropping everywhere. Serral breaches the Terran ramp, but there's almost no Marines for the Banelings, only Marauders. One thing Serral really did do there, though, is he dropped that medevac count. The Corruptors have had their effect. 19 more Banelings on the way. Serral looking to grind down his opponent with continual waves of acid. To save his medevacs, Maru's gonna need to use his snipes against the Corruptors. But that could open the door for the Ultras. Their one weakness is that the ghosts keep hitting them in the brain box. Look how mined out Maru is. That top left base is really everything to him. A very optimistic command center tried to take the east again, but that's not going to happen. In fact, it looks like Serral's going to move in. Both of our players are going to start worrying about where their next meal's coming from. Maru's desperately trying to get to work on the creep on the western side. But if you think this feels like too little too late, you would be right. Serral just keeps attacking on the west and east flanks. Maru cannot afford to split his defenses, but he's got no choice. He is going to save that command center, though, yet again. LOL, you know that's an important spot on the map when. Maru is going to take it back. He's good with the taking part, just not so much with the Holden. Overseers do not require any supply. And with the amount of Widow Mines out there, it's no surprise that Serral keeps adding more and more in. Oh, Serral just got his way to that critical top left base. But rather than destroy it, he's gonna let his Lings cannibalize the SCVs. Maru tries to go on the offensive. He even gets some drone kills. But the Zerg horde is there to push him back. Really good pickup to save a chunk of his army there. But his economy is in shreds now. Serral's mining 6 times as much as him. The efficiency required to account for that kind of disparity is off the charts. OMG, did I just see that? It looked like this lone marauder somehow survived the entire horde. Serral went back to finish him off, but that was pretty impressive. I'm thinking that deserves to be a post-game slow-mo thing. Stick around and we'll see if my eyes deceive me. Serral's gonna take back that east base. Maru can't afford to lose it, but he kinda can't afford to stay either. His medevac count is gonna get reset here. This has not been a good engagement for our Terran player. But he is gonna hold and he is gonna save his command center. I don't know how he did it, but he did. Serral is supply blocked. Can Maru use this window? He won't be expanding to the top left. He's trying to punch his way down the right-hand side of the map. He is back on creep. Can he bag himself a hatch? That is an important hatch for Serral. He gets it. And here comes the pickup. He'll need boost energy to get away from those corruptors. He has it. But Serral is supply blocked no longer. He made himself a ton of overlords. And now Serral wants an eye for an eye. A base for a base. The invisible overlords snipe down the ultras. And now they're getting the corruptors. How is Maru doing this? Serral has lost his bank. Don't get me wrong, Serral is way ahead in this. But I think we just saw the first chink in the armor. Serral's trying to rebuild his top left. Maru has lost his, and a burrowed Zergling is preventing him from taking it back. Serral goes after the right-hand base yet again. There's the SCV pull. There's the liftoff. He's got the acid rainbow going on the CC. Well, Serral's even brought up his queens to transfuse the corruptors. He's going to counteract all that hard work the ghosts have been doing. Serral's supply is pretty much all Lings right now. He's trying to transform it into Banes, but he doesn't quite have the money. Maru doesn't have the money for anything. He's decided his priority is rebuilding his medevacs. It's morphing central on the left-hand side. Banelings and Overseers. Maru's got 0 income right now. He's gonna hyper-saturate that base on the upper left. He hits it with 32 SCVs and 6 mules. And since the bulk of his army is away defending that location, these Lings are gonna slide right in. I mean, there's not really any minerals here left to defend. But it's just not cool to let Lings snack on your buildings unopposed. But truthfully, the bigger priority is seeing if he can shut down some bases from Serral. But it looks like that's just going to get his army cut off. So for the moment, Maru suddenly has an economy, but now he's got no army. Serral knows it. He's just rolling in. He's going after that pivotal top left base for Maru. The corruptors are applying the acid rain. The ghosts need to get there now. They're sniping him down. It's going to be close. Serral sees a chance to go after the ghosts. The command center's in the yellow. There's only 1 rainbow left, but Maru's had to pick up his ghosts. That command center's gonna fall, and that is game. Maru did everything he could to try to stay in this, but Serral was just too far ahead. When Titans collide. Okay, I don't want to belabor it, but I'll tell you where I think Maru really lost this game. It was actually quite early. He came in with his stim timing and it just got crushed by Serral. He lost too much for too little gain, and it put Serral ahead from that moment forward. After that, Maru needed Serral to make a mistake, and Serral wasn't feeling that charitable. You'll see Maru spots the Banelings, and he splits his Marines. But when he does, half of them are going to sort of get caught in this culvert here. That means he's got nowhere to run. Maru, as awesome as he is, reacts by bringing over his medevacs for the save. But they're just a little bit too late. Boom, 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 Maru has no infantry left. He's also pretty much blown his boost. That means the mutas get to eat his medevacs. And even though he's going to look good on paper at this point, he just doesn't have enough going forward. I mean, nothing's ever that simple, and there's other ways for Maru to get back in this, I'm sure. But for me, that engagement was the TSN turning point. Now, I did want to show that Survivor Man Marauder again, because that was pretty miraculous. He's only got 96 hit points, and he's all alone. Trampled by Ultras, smashed by Banelings, and he survives. Your eyes do not deceive you. That is 1 hit point left. Serral has to bring back his entire army just to deal with that 1 hit point. Which he does, of course, no problem, but wow. One more time, just for posterity. Only this time, you need to know that his name is Ernie. Trampled by Ultralisks, and he survived. Dominion, if you're listening, I really think you need to commute Ernie's sentence. Don't you think he deserves to have a few years taken off at least? You know, things like this are the reasons why I have trouble trusting the criminal justice system. But what you can do about it is you could subscribe in Ernie's honor. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Anywho, I'm gonna hope to see you next week. Because I think I'm going to have something that I've been waiting 8 months for. Or all of 2020 at least. Now the last thing I'm going to do, and you don't need to hear this because it's a spoiler. I'm going to reveal what happens in the rest of the series because it was a best of 3. My connections are weak, so I only got 1 replay instead of them all. But now's your opportunity to click off and find yourself another wicked game of Starcraft. If not, stick around and I'll float up on the screen what happened. Oh heck, I'm just going to tell you. Game 1, Maru wins. Game 2, Serral wins. You just watched it. Game 3, Serral wins again. He takes the series. That's 2-1. Alright, from my base to yours, Zugzwang out. To continue your StarCraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your StarCraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang StarCraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.